In recent weeks, and again in recent days, you will have seen dramatic footage of roads becoming rivers in nearby Spain. 2 weeks after flash floods caused devastation in eastern Spain, especially around Valencia, several areas were placed on high alert again. A new weather front brought heavy rain in Malaga on Wednesday. Spain's Civil Protection Agency sent a mass alert to phones in the Malaga province at about 10 p.m. on Tuesday. They warned of an extreme risk of rainfall. Schools were closed the next morning. Thousands were evacuated from their homes. But the impact wasn't as bad as Valencia. The weather was different, but was the effectiveness of the messaging also different? A question for emergency response consultant Joe Bishop, who's just back from some work in South America, I believe, Joe.
That's right. Just got back from Bogota last week.
Talk to us about... So the weather was different. That plays a part in how it unfolds in Malaga versus Valencia. But the emergency response was also different, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think it boils down to the effectiveness of the early warning system. In other words, the impacted community knowing what to do before, during, and after the emergency. If I can give you an example, a week before Dana, Hurricane Milton hit Tampa. What did Hurricane Milton and the Dana have in common? Both events were known a week before the Hurricane Milton made land in Tampa, and Dana hit the Valencia Generalidad. Now, both weather advisory agencies, IMET and the Hurricane Center warned FEMA that in 7 days this was likely to happen. And FEMA took the necessary pre-impact action.
In Florida,
and the IMET, the Spanish weather authorities, informed the Civil Protection in Spain a week before that this was likely to happen.
And why didn't they?
Well,
similarly
if you
respond?
look at the hurricane in Florida, right, with winds of 200 kilometers an hour, only 16 persons lost their lives. And in Spain, with the same time for impact, right, 224 people to date have been fatalities, and there's still 16 unaccounted for. So the
Tragic.
early warning system and the preparation before, during and after plays a major role in risk communication.
So the Valencia authorities sent the SMS alert late. They warned, they sent the warnings after the waters had already begun to rise.
That's right. 8 hours after they got a second warning from AMET. By the time that this alert was sent through SMS, which is a European-wide alert system, and it's been modified to meet the requirements of specific needs in different European countries and participating states of the European Union. Right? The alert went out when there was already a 4-meter high tidal wave coming down the riverbanks with debris, floating cars and whatever. It don't take a lot to move a car. You only need about 30 to 40 centimeters of a flash flood to move vehicles.
That's it. I mean, the pictures are very impressive, but the point is that it was known that a lot of water, a weather system could have a very significant impact, and the authorities didn't respond as quickly as they did in Florida.
That's right. The thing is that future major disasters are going to come from 3 different directions. One is climate change, one is conflict, what we're seeing in Ukraine and in Gaza, and the third one is pandemic. So the whole planning, which is heading through an all hazards approach, right, is figuring on community participation, see? And they say that it's now planning for all hazards and whole communities. You cannot remove the community. An SMS message for an alert will give you very, very brief instructions on what to do and what not to do. But if you haven't got prior knowledge, you haven't been properly trained, and you haven't got previous information, you are very, very likely to survive. And you have to bear in mind that most disasters, for the first 4 days, the affected community are very much on their own.
And the thing with this is it's both a rapid disaster and also a slow a slow disaster insofar as climate change. We talk about it a lot, and there is increasingly acceptance that we need to be more prepared for it. But not just in nearby Spain, but across Europe. I think Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission president, has acknowledged that we must prepare to deal with it, almost accepting that perhaps so far not enough has been done.
Absolutely. It's twofold. On the one hand is community preparedness and risk communication, and on the other hand is land use. Okay, when you build buildings, asphalt roads and motorways, you remove the absorption factor from the soil, so the water has nowhere to go, you know. And then what actually happens, and as you rightly said, it's a sudden onset where you've got thousands and thousands of tons of water rushing down, you know, and cannot be absorbed by the soil.
Joe, I know that we've talked about the response from the authorities there. I know that you also want to talk about the response from civil society, because you don't think that people should be making donations in kind. You don't think people should be sending clothes, etc. Why not?
Well, it's not just me, it's the international community, Jonathan. In a huge push for solidarity and empathy, for all the right reasons, people see on their morning breakfast television show the pictures of Valencia, people without food, without clothing, you know, and they embark on this urge to collect stuff and send it. Now, since Hurricane Mitch in Central America, followed by the earthquake in Haiti, you know, a commission was put together of respectable UN agencies, OCHA, the World Food Programme, Oxfam and others, and they produced this document. I've got the Spanish version here, which is Saber Donar, knowing how to donate. Now, if you look at donations, there is already evidence-based reports that only 60% of in-kind donations, that's food and clothing, actually gets to the beneficiaries. Right?
Only 60%.
60%. If you send the equivalent of 10 euros in food or clothing, right, it's going to take an average of between 5 and 6 euros to transport it from the collection point to the beneficiaries. Now, when you think about these floods in Valencia, right, the impacted area was only 9 kilometers away from the Valencia city center. In Valencia, there was business as usual. So all the stuff that was sent from all over Spain could have been adequately brought in Valencia. Right, you're generating income to an affected community. If you send rice, if you send pastas, there is no electricity, there is no gas. You cannot burn timber because it's soaking wet. So people need to realize, right, the effects of sending donations in kind versus sending cash, which is the preferred option.